Well, good afternoon all. We'll call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order for September 18, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. A roll call, please, Amanda.
Mr. Coffin?
Here.
Mr. Hoover?
Here.
Mr. Rutherford?
Here.
Thank you.
And the minutes of our last regular session meeting, September 6th, have been distributed to members of the board. Is there any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. First, we're going to welcome Mr. Cole. Evening, Rob.
Hey, gentlemen. Rob Cole, Greenwood IT Director. Our 5-year copier lease is expiring at the end of this month, so I'd like to request the board's approval of a 5-year lease for 18 copiers from Sharp Business Systems, conditional upon final terms by the legal department, and to have the deputy mayor sign the appropriate documents on your behalf.
Rob, is Sharp our current
Yes, they are.
provider?
Yes.
And Greg, that's all okay with your?
Please make the vote subject to review for legal. We discussed the contract today.
Pleasure of the board.
I move that we approve the request subject to legal reviewing and authorize the deputy mayor to sign. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Rob. Ms. Best, good evening. Good afternoon. Whatever it is.
Good evening, gentlemen. Lisa Best, Director of Human Resources. I come before you this evening with respect to our Indiana Testing Incorporated contracts. We utilize Indiana Testing as our TPA for our drug testing and driver qualification files. Our contract is October 1 to September 30th. It is a 2-year plan that we go by. And we just got finished negotiating for a new 2-year plan. And I would like to go ahead and continue with your services, and if approved, have Deputy Mayor sign our documents.
And these are continuation with the same company?
Yes.
Okay. Questions for Lisa? Take it legal, has looked over.
These
This
have
one
been
we
reviewed by the
approved,
legal
yes.
department, yes.
Okay.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. That's for both of these, correct?
Yes. Aye.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Petty, tell us what you got, a couple things.
Good evening.
Here, you.
First item I have is request the board authorize me to settle a total loss claim on a 2014 Ford F-250 that is out of our police department. VIN ending A04494, and the settlement amount would be $30,110.21, which will also release the title to this vehicle.
And we haven't talked about this before, have we, Todd? We haven't talked
Not this
about this.
one, no.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Petty? Yeah, I'll move that we approve the request and settle the matter for this 2014 Ford F-250.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. We've got something else for us.
The second request I have this evening is requesting approval to purchase a 2024 Chevrolet 2500 crew cab work truck at $54,300, and it's to be paid for using funds available in the flex budget.
Assume I know the answer, but Mr. Wright, that's correct.
That's right. I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Have a good evening. Next, we're going to turn to Greenwood Business Center, Eric Berkman.
Yeah, on behalf of Pepper Construction, we're just requesting release of maintenance guarantees and bonds for the Greenwood Business Center project.
We have Paul Peone's September 18 memo in front of us. Anything different that we need to know from what his Well, I'll move that we acknowledge that the dirt work, storm sewer, erosion control, sanitary sewer, street sidewalk, pathways, signs and monuments are still in satisfactory condition, that we release the maintenance guarantees for the Greenwood Business Center site. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Mr. Benter with Elmwood Estates, Section 2, are you with us, Greg?
I am here. How's everybody doing?
Good. Tell us what we're doing here.
We are here for the acceptance of improvements. This is for Elmwood Estates Section 2, maintenance guarantees, performance guarantees, and execution of plat over easements, and acceptance and execution of final plat with some conditions.
I take it you've seen Paul Peoni's memo of today's date with the 6 conditions. Do you have any problems with any of those?
I do not.
Is there a motion or any further questions either for Mr. St. John or for Greg?
I move that we approve the request.
Subject to those 6 conditions.
Correct. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Motion passes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you gonna do the Elmwood Estates Section 2 or or Section 4, or is Derek with us?
I'll do that one as well.
Okay,
So we're for Elmwood Estates Section 4, we are here for the acceptance of the performance guarantee and acceptance and execution of inspection and testing agreements.
pretty routine, right, Mark?
Yes, it is.
I'll move that we approve this matter. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Next, we're gonna turn to Justin Hochstetter from Crossroads. He's in person. Good evening.
I'm here to request acceptance of the completion of improvements and release of performance guarantees for the Jackson County Bank Switz Crossing project. And I think that's all the performance guarantees except performance guarantees.
You've seen Paul Peony September 18th, number 3, there's a couple conditions.
Yes,
Those all okay?
yes.
Any questions for Mr. St. John or for? Yes.
I move that we approve the request subject to the conditions outlined in the report.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. And thank you for coming in person. We appreciate that. Get back to you as well. Good evening. We're talking about Shiloh's Corner.
Good evening. Derek Schneider with Crossroads Engineers, here to request acceptance of the secondary plat, general inspection and testing agreement, sanitary inspection and testing agreement, and 5 letters of credit for the performance guarantees on Shiloh's Corner.
And there's a condition to review and approval of that, by that, we're fine with that, I take it.
Yep.
Questions for Mark or for Derek? I'll move for approval subject to that one condition. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, on a roll, people in person, we like that.
Right back.
Evening, Greg.
Good evening. Greg Oker with Crossroads Engineers, representing Greenwood Christian Academy. Here before you requesting the release of the letters of credit and a refund of the inspection and testing agreement check, amount of $1,500 for the softball and baseball field project located at 1477 West Main Street. This is a project that Greenwood Christian Academy went through, approved, or got approved through the city, had performance guarantees in the form of letters of credit issued or approved. They did have an LAP issued, PC 2022-089. I don't even believe a pre-con was had for that following the issuance of that land operation permit, though. Unfortunately, the school's not going to be able to move forward or not moving forward with that project as it stands. We're aware that if anything comes back, we'll basically be starting over and coming back before everybody. So, but we greatly appreciate the release of the letters of credit and refund of the $1,500 inspection.
Any problems with that, Mark?
No, Ms. Joko stated it, but again, just to be clear, if they want to restart this
Have
project,
started.
they pretty much start.
Okay.
So how does that work with funds that the city? What costs is attached to the city? I'm not against this. I'm just
Yeah,
kind of
so the inspection and testing agreement hasn't been utilized at all, the fees that have upfront fees that were paid for that. Like as Joko said, we didn't even have a pre-construction meeting for it. And typically we require half upfront, so there's times we refund that, we don't even reach that half, so it's not a process we're unfamiliar with.
Just a bookkeeping
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the LAP would just be what, released, canceled?
Yeah, it would be tracked in our city work system that has been canceled. I don't think you even received a copy of it. So I do have a copy. Oh, you do? Okay, well, it's no longer there. Fair enough.
Fair motion.
I'll move for approval.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Next, Project Barbecue, Worsville Commerce Center, Kenny Moore here, American Construction Point.
Yes, I'm here tonight on behalf of GLA Properties to request a stormwater variance for section 9-156 of the stormwater quantity management. Letter C, detention facilities, number 2, which references the Stormwater Technical Manual, Chapter 7, D1. The design shall ensure that a minimum 90% of the original detention capacity is restored within 48 hours from the start of the design 100-year storm. Currently, our pond and its configuration is restored to 70% of its original detention capacity. The 90% cannot be achieved due to the allowable release rates laid out in the Greenwood Stormwater Manual of 0.1 CFS per acre developed for the 0 to 10 and 0.3 CFS per acre for the developed area for the 11 to 100 year. This really restricts and is kind of a burden on the site because the only way to really achieve this is to release more water. And currently we meet all other requirements, including the release rate, channel protection volume, and water quality volume. And to show you that our pond can withstand more like intense storms, I also ran the 500-year 24-hour storm event and back-to-back 100-year storm events, and all that stormwater detention stayed within the top of bank and did not spill over. So with that being said, I just request variance for this.
Mark, your take on this?
Yeah, so I prepared a memo for you all tonight. The intent of this standard, the return to 90% capacity within 48 hours, spelled wrong in my memo, is to ensure adequate capacity of the pond during really back-to-back storm events. We talk about a storm event, 100-year storm event. It's the frequency, it's the probability at which a storm can occur. So it's the largest storm that's likely to occur in 100 years. That doesn't mean it'll only occur once every 100 years. It could occur in a back-to-back event. So it's really to make sure the pond has capacity for that. They've shown that it could handle 2 back-to-back storms. They've shown it could handle a 500-year storm, which is a very large storm event. They just don't meet the return to capacity that we require. The only way to meet that is to increase the discharge, which would violate some of our other standards. So we are favorable of this recommendation.
Other questions or issues? Pleasure report.
I move that we approve the stormwater request waiver.
Second, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
Next, we're going to talk to Mike Timko, who's going to talk about Greenwood Village South. And as I am a board member, a non-paid board member, albeit, for Greenwood Village South, I am going to recuse myself and ask Mr. Colvin to address these issues. Mr. Messer.
Mike, are you online?
Hi, Good evening, everybody. This is Nathan Barr at Kemney Horn. Mike Timko is also here. We are requesting a waiver for several of the stormwater standards, more particularly from the city code section 9-156.d.1 that pertains to detention design. So what we are proposing is a waiver for the stormwater standard chapter 7 section 8.1. The two existing ponds east of the existing arms building to not require channel protection volume. In the proposed design, we're not impacting the pond southeast of the existing arms building, and we are doing some minimal improvements to the existing pond northeast of the existing arms building. But otherwise, we are not making any changes. The other waiver is for chapter 7, section E.1 of the Greenwood Stormwater Technical Standards Manual. The existing northeast pond improvements cannot obtain a half acre of water area. Just an existing condition, those ponds are not half an acre and they are surrounded by existing development that we are not intending to touch. So we cannot meet that standard. The third waiver would be for the existing ponds to not provide a safety ramp. The reason being is for that pond southeast of the existing arms building, we have no intention of touching that pond or anything in the area of that pond. And then the pond northeast of the arms building, providing a safety ramp would hinder the existing storage that the pond has. And then the last waiver we are requesting is a waiver to freeboard for the existing pond to the northeast of the arms building.
Any questions from the board on these requests yet? If not, I'd like to ask the engineer to weigh in on the recommendations.
Sure. So the first waiver, if we take it one by one, is for water quality for the channel protection volume. The intent of this standard is to make sure we're not creating additional erosion of the downstream receiving water body. And the standard requires us to detain storm or discharge from the 1 year 24-hour rainfall event. They're not going to meet it in the existing ponds. This is a standard that was probably put in place well after those existing ponds were in place. So to meet that, they'd have to change the size and the design of those ponds. They are providing it in the proposed ponds, and they'll be providing it in the pond immediately upstream of the site outfall. So we are favorable for this recommendation because I feel they meet the intent of that design standard. Do you want to take these one by one, or would you like to?
Let's do it one by one. So is there a motion to approve the first request?
Yeah, I would approve that, I would move that we approve waiver 1, channel protection volume, section 9-156 stormwater.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The second waiver request was for minimum pond size. My understanding, and Kimberly Horn can correct me if I'm wrong, is this is only for the existing northeast pond. The intent of this standard, as we've talked about in the past, is to provide water quality and to provide for aquatic life. Again, this is an existing pond, so they'd have to expand an existing pond with an existing site to meet our standard. We're not opposed to this waiver request. We're favorable for it, provided that they provide other methods to prevent pond stagnation in the existing pond that are in alignment with our standards. That would be a fountain or aeration or something similar to that.
Is there a motion on that request?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Waiver 3 is for the safety ramp. This one might be kind of obvious, but the intent of that standard is to provide an adequate means of access, both for maintenance purposes and in case of emergencies. Again, this pond is for, or this request is for an existing pond only, so it'd be asking to apply our current standards to retrofit it to something that was designed many years ago, possibly decades ago. We're not opposed to a waiver of this requirement for an existing pond.
Motion on this request.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Waiver 3.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the final waiver is on freeboard. I think the waiver request as written was a little confusing to me, which is why my memo reads as it does. I'd like Kimley Horn, Nathan, can you again confirm that this is only for the existing pond in the northeast quadrant of the site?
That is correct. We are proposing a freeboard of a half a foot instead of the standard 2 feet for that pond to the northeast.
And is half a foot the existing freeboard that's in that pond, or are you reducing the existing freeboard?
That was our calculated freeboard for the existing pond. No, we're not reducing it from what it does in the current condition.
Okay, then yes, staff would not have any opposition to that, because again, it's for an existing pond and they're not changing the condition or making it worse.
I'll move for approval, waiver for the freeboard.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion to pass. Thank you, Nathan.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Next, we'll return to the agenda. Next on our agenda is the audience. Anybody from the audience, either in person or online, wish to address the board? Hearing none, we'll turn to Mr. Hodson with the IDM compliance plan status update, if there is any.
Last Thursday, IDM informed us via email that we have completed all the terms of our agreed order and that we will be released from it. We expect a formal letter in the next week. So this is the last class plan status update.
What will we do without the status?
Congratulations, I guess. Okay.
How long has this been around?
10 years.
Long as I can remember.
Okay, Sam, with that good news, why don't you go ahead and start in your status of tasks?
I have 3 walk-ons. Would you want me to do those first or do the ones that are?
Go ahead, you walk on, that's fine.
Okay, the first involves a request from the CWA authority to provide sewer service to an area which is in our service area. Keith, I believe that you're aware of this and don't oppose it. Mike.
Those.
Just
finished.
Approval of the objection letter to the IURC. What initiates that is Guy 69, 135, Indianapolis, DPW, County Line Road improvement down through there. Two land acquisition homes out by Morgantown Road and County Line Road by the Mount Pleasant Valley. I mean, it's a little old out there. 3 homes that they're getting into their septics or the dump sewers through the acquisition. And DPW in Indianapolis, with their citizens, contacted us, really do not have the sewers in the area, just on the south side of County Line Road. So they went through citizens who had sewers in that area, just to see if they could come up with a method of serving those 3 homes, and they have. I mean, there's sewers right there available for them. So as part of citizens, at least the CTA or us allowing them to come into our CTA, now she needs a letter from us stating that we don't have any objection to coming in our territory.
Are they just boring to the north? Like a lateral or something?
Right, they're gonna put grinder pumps at each one of those houses and then just run towards main wherever they're at on the north side. And it'd be their responsibility.
And would there be any more houses to the west, in the, what is that, Mount Pleasant North? Do you remember Mount Pleasant North?
Mount Pleasant Valley back to the east.
To the west.
It goes to the old Mount Pleasant area up on the hill.
Yeah.
They're still all on septic. Nobody's petition.
They're not affected.
Not that I know
questions for Keith? The proposed letter you have going out is for the mayor's signature. Given the timing of this, do you want to have that redone for the deputy mayor's signature?
Yeah, mayor or deputy mayor, so we got.
Questions for Keith?
I move that we approve the request.
No, for the mayor or
Yeah,
deputy mayor.
yeah, even the mayor would do. I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And Keith, do you have the original letter, or you give it to Amanda?
Amanda.
Great. You got it? Okay, great, thank you. Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Next up is a minor change in the scope of work for Hirons. And this is realignment of things from when Molly Law left. So they're going to have to pick up some tax, and they're going to assist us in finding replacements and doing this homeowners association outreach program that has been going on for about 18 months. There is no additional cost. Yeah.
Just scope of work.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a fixed cost of $4,500. It is on top of the regular.
So extra.
Yeah, it's an extra $4,500.
Questions for Sam on this?
I move that we approve the request.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next is simply a letter. I'm not sure why we have to agree, why we need to do this, but it's to help the Center Road School Corporation, which is building a multi-purpose athletic facility, and we do not have infrastructure there to provide sewer service. But they would like to commence construction before there's a plan to get it done. And they requested a letter indicating that we did not object to their fencing so long as it's not occupied until the utility service is there. And this is something I would ask you to ratify. We needed to
Yeah, I think maybe we talked about this, right, Terry?
Yeah.
Any further discussion or questions on that?
I move that we approve that request or ratify that request.
Second that. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, on my actual list, first up is a contract with City Consultants and Research. And these are the folks that assist us in complying with the rules for federal grants. They charge $100 an hour, which is very reasonable.
I'll move we approve that contract. Is it?
And finally, we issued,
Wait,
oh, sorry.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'm sorry, I missed 2 seconds.
Jeff.
Now we're good.
Finally, we, or actually the board, did a block grant to Habitat for Humanity. And it was to complete its work by this September 30th, and they're not able to do it. And they have requested an extension to until next year. And staff has looked at this and thinks it's warranted. And this would give them until September 30th of 2024 to complete the work and use the grant.
Does it look like is it October 15th of 2024?
The timetable, the cost was being quarterly to October 1st,
Oh,
2022.
the invoice
September
would
30th,
be
2024.
to pay for, okay.
Yeah.
I'll move for a second.
Second.
Further discussion? This is for deputy mayor's signature.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Sam. Mark.
Yeah, the first item I have for the board tonight is requesting authorization of staff to obtain quotes for our annual crack sealing project. It's that time of year. We anticipate spending $60,000 to $100,000 on crack sealing, certainly well underneath that $150,000 threshold where we'd have to publicly procure the work.
move the authorized staff to move forward with obtaining those quotes.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next item I have is request approval of change order number 2 for the 2023 annual paving project. The contractor for this project is Howard Companies. We encountered a fair amount of soft soil on Brookview Drive, Williamsburg Court, and Meadow Circle. We went with a slightly different undercut to kind of beef that section out, that included some additional stone and some geogrid. Howard Group requested a slight price change on the undercut price for those quantities. We think it's a fair price, and we're asking that you approve this change order. And the unit price, the new unit price for an undercut section, which is $250.50 per cubic yard. This will increase the contract amount by $34,000.
What's the total? I don't know what the total project cost.
So the total project cost will now be $2,387,000, $387,045.40.
This is relatively small.
In addition to this.
Well, I'll move that we authorize and approve change order number 1.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
You
Did you
said
wanna say-
number
say
one,
what's
was
the
it
other
number
one?
2?
We didn't tear the whole.
Change number
up,
1.
so
I thought you said number 2. The agenda says number 2. Is it number 2 or number 1, Mark?
it should be change order number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, the agenda is incorrect.
Thank you.
Oops, sorry, I don't know if I said it. Did you authorize the mayor to sign the change order on the forms we have?
Didn't, but I think, is that part of the motion? I'll make
Yes.
that motion part of the
Mayor, Deputy Mayor.
Mayor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
So 3,400 Morgantown Road.
Yes, the last item I have is authorizing staff to prepare a single parcel sewer service agreement for 3,400 South Morgantown Road. This is located outside of the city limits. We're asking that you authorize the mayor, deputy mayor to sign the agreement on the board's behalf.
So moved.
Second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All I have. Thank you, Mark. Mr. Wright.
Just want to confirm that everybody got the link for the budget, so we can consider it at the action.
Thank you. Mr. Rutherford, you're up.
The approved claims.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you all. We'll stand adjourned at 6:02 PM.